Good morning from Laos. This is actually our first new country in about 10 months, so we are very excited to explore it. We are here in... yeah, you get us. You're so scary. We are in the city of Luang Prabang today, and it is our one and only day here to go exploring, so we're trying to see as much as we can, which is why we woke up this morning at 5:30 in the morning.
The giving of the alms process is supposed to be quiet, spiritual. The whole process in the morning starts before the sun comes up, where people are putting out little plastic chairs for tourists and other Buddhists to sit on to donate from. They're also selling like little chocolate bars or sticky rice or anything that you can just grab and put in a bucket to anyone who needs it.
They dress in their orange robes and walk barefoot to receive the alms. They have like this little basket across their side, which I believe is where the sticky rice goes. And it looks like a good chunk of them have almost a tote bag. Yeah. And that's where like the other stuff goes.
Yeah, I'm quite conflicted with it all.
It's quite a sensitive subject to talk about, considering we're not religious people, we're not practicing monks.
I don't think it's supposed to be as much of a spectacle as it turned out to be. But basically, 2,500 years ago, the Buddha decided that the monks practicing Buddhism shouldn't work or earn money, but they rely solely on the donations from the local people and other Buddhists. So they pretty much get all the food to feed them for the entire day in the morning. But there's just such an overabundance here now that they're discarding them.
They literally have a section of people giving the food to the monks, and then right after that section there'll be almost a waste basket with a plastic bag in it, and you can watch the monks scoop some of the sticky rice out and discard it.
And the whole point is, obviously they're not going to refuse taking things because you're giving someone good karma. So they'll take whatever they're given and then they'll just discard what they don't want.
I don't know. It's a confusing thing and it's not our place to make a decision because the monks could love it. They could love that there's that many people out. I think why we decided to go and watch it, one of the things that we love about travel is learning about new cultures and religions and the way of people's lives in a country. And this is a daily part of people's lives. Like devotees wake up before dawn to cook sticky rice so it's fresh to give to the monks at sunrise. So it's such an ingrained part of life here.
And more tourists means more donations, but it just like the people getting like this far from the monks, taking photos and following them down the street and being super noisy and like yelling at each other.
The fact that they have signs out that say don't touch the monks, I feel like that says it all. Anyway, to try and mix it up and shake this off, I think we're going to go climb a mountain.
The steps are like very steep, ladder vibes. So these steps, there's 320 something of them, lead to the summit of Mount Phousi. Again, it's a super spiritual mountain. There's like watts either side of us. But the mountain's right in the middle of Luang Prabang, so it has amazing views of the whole city at sunset and sunrise. Our goal was to go for sunrise, but we watched the monks instead, and it's a very cloudy day, so we were not going to get it anyway. But it is still something we really want to do, and like one of the top things to do in Luang Prabang. So we're climbing, and we are completely alone.
They're meant to be, but my Birkenstocks don't do well in the rain. Like, they're not grippy at all. And of course, just as someone said good morning to me, and I was like, what? Did you see me sleep? There's a sign on the way that says this mountain got here through an old Lao folk story. Essentially, the Monkey King took this mountain from Sri Lanka and brought it here.
What a nice fella.
So nice. Tuesday, but it looks chill. So it's 30,000 kip per person to go to the top of the stupa. We thought we might be alone here, but it seems like everyone had the genius idea of going to the Alms and then climbing a mountain.
From what we've heard from other people that have done this, the sunset is absolutely crazy up here. Shoulder to shoulder, more sweaty than normal, and that wasn't for us. cloudy, but still impressive.
It's almost more beautiful. It's like moody.
Yeah, it gives you more of a contrast.
Yeah. I know we're not here during like prime weather of the day. It's very misty and rainy and I feel soaked through. But the view, I would argue, is almost better because it's so moody. The green from all of the foliage is like this really deep, dark color. And then, I don't know what it's called, but like the white trellis, like edging on all of the ceilings is the contrast that shines through with all of the clouds moving really fast. I like it.
Only having 24 hours in Luang Prabang means we are victim to whatever the weather is. Sometimes that works out really well.
Sometimes it doesn't. People call this the city pillar stupa because no matter where you are in town, you can basically turn around and see it because it sits at around 150 meters above sea level. And then I think the stupa itself is another 20 something meters. What's cool about this city is it's almost like a peninsula. You have the Mekong River and then another smaller river meeting it. Where we are at Luang Prabang, it almost looks like a peninsula, like where they meet. It's really nice.
But let's go get a coffee.
We found this cafe/restaurant the first day we arrived in Luang Prabang when we needed coffee desperately, and we just walked to the river and was looking for somewhere with a nice view, and this place had it. It is 40,000 kip for an iced coffee each, but they are really, really good. And it's just so cute here. They have like the plantation shutters. Plus, you have an incredible view of the Mekong River and all of the boats going along it. I am feeling super grateful that, like, yes, it sucks that it's a bit rainy today, but we had incredible weather on our cruise down here, which I think is the days I would have preferred nice weather on.
Truth be told, after the Alms this morning, we have been waiting for the rain to stop. Google weather and like radar systems, you cannot trust either of them. So Southeast Asian rainy season, you never really know what you're gonna get. Our plan for today has changed a lot. Because of the weather, we decided we're not going to go to the waterfall, Kuang Si waterfall, which a lot of people do and it's highly recommended to do. But Luang Prabang is the ancient capital of Laos. It sits at one of the biggest northern sites in the country and it has so much French influence here, which feels really different from the other sides of Southeast Asia we've experienced so far. This whole city actually became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. A lot of people say that it kind of feels like what northern Thailand felt like 20 years ago or so, and I can totally see that. It's still got good infrastructure, but like there's not a 7-Eleven every 20 meters, and while there is still quite a lot of tourism, the actual population in Laos is so small. It just feels more authentic, I want to say.
It's got this really interesting blend between it being westernized and like there's really nice restaurants and cafes to go to that are very aesthetic and like Instagrammy for tourists, but at the same time it feels really authentic here. The way the city is like intertwined with all of these jungles and trees and then temples everywhere. I don't know, it's a very nice blend for what is the biggest city in the north of Thailand. In the north of Laos.
That place has great views. I think before we continue and explore the rest of the town, we need something to eat. To get us a little bit more energy for the rest of the day in Luang Prabang, we've come to a cafe called the Bamboo Tree. This place was actually specifically recommended to us by the, I was going to say captain, host of our boat trip over. He said it's got really good food, but honestly the pastries out the front are all I'm after, so.
Flickery buttery crust.
Baked on a buttery, crispy crust.
Jack, flaky.
I feel like we're taking the fact that there's a French influence here quite seriously, so we've ordered French pastries.
Whoa. Wow. Wow, that's really good.
Let's go halvesies.
No, you made your choice.
I cannot believe that the best pain au chocolat that I've ever had is in Laos.
So a massive part of Lao history is quite a dark side of it, but it's the most bombed country in the entire world per capita. So through the Vietnam War, they were blanketing the whole country in millions and millions of bombs, but only about 30% of them would explode. So there are huge areas of land with unexploded bombs. So we thought we'd come to the museum. Another recommendation from Matt and Caitlin.
If I'm reading this sign correctly, they removed or destroyed 626 unexploded ordnances in June this year alone.
Apparently, the majority of the bombs that were being dropped here are ones that would get a little bit off the ground and then explode themselves and scatter smaller bombs everywhere. Don't know what I expected, but that was intense. For what essentially is one small room.
I don't even know what to say. I read a sign that said there was a plane load of munition dropped every 8 minutes, 24 hours a day for 9 years. And a third of that didn't explode. That amount of munitions throughout the country that they need to clear and destroy.
It is mad, and like the worst one of them is like, it's like the size of a tennis ball, maybe a little bit bigger than a tennis ball, lodged in the ground like a foot deep that you just come across when you're farming.
It's wild to watch the films that they have playing and see that kids learn about this in school. I think back to the things that we learned in school, like sun safety.
Yeah.
It's such an innocuous, worldwide, global thing. And yet there's these kids that are having to learn what to do.
Don't touch the bomb.
Yeah,
crazy.
it's just... I think this should be mandatory. If you come to Luang Prabang, I would highly recommend coming and learning more about the history here. It's actually free entry, so there's no reason not to.
Yes, there are donations though. If you want to donate, and you probably should, they're in there.
Yeah, it goes to the education, the research, and the removal of the UXO.
Yeah.
It is a night and day difference from the weather this morning to the weather now. I am still quite glad we climbed the mountain when we did, because it would be extremely hot and sweaty to do it now. It is time for one of the best things you can do in Luang Prabang. To end our 24 hours here, we are going to the night market.
Significantly less people than the Chiang Mai market, but a smaller space. It's like they're taking up the whole road here. There's like only a little sliver.
It's definitely more souvenir-y, at least this area that we're just seeing is, but this is on every single night.
Which is really impressive. Mm-hmm. Also, it looks like rain, so I don't know how long we'll be out.
So Laos isn't an expensive place to travel, but because we've just come from Thailand, it kind of feels like it is. Like we're paying $10 for a meal instead of like $2. So it's nice to walk around the market, but I don't think we're going to buy anything other than food. It seems like all of the souvenirs are on the main street and the offshoots are where you can find food. So we found a spot at the very end of one of these side streets that had food on them, and this place looks pretty good. It has dumplings and fried buns. Plus, we've heard that you can't say you've been to Luang Prabang unless you went to the waterfalls, but equally I think you can't come to Luang Prabang and not try a Luang Prabang beer, like local to here beer. So if we do that, surely people can't argue that we haven't been here, right?
We've tried a lot of the Lao beer, but this is our first time trying the proper local one.
Hey.
Oh. Quite nice. Little tastes a bit cold and drafty.
I personally prefer the Lao beer. After that one sip, this one's a bit more beery. Brewed to go with the delicious and unique food of Luang Prabang. which is quite vague. Technically, we're having food of Luang Prabang because we're eating here. So does this just go with any food that you eat here? Fried dumpling. I'm scared about this sauce. It looks very spicy. From what I can tell, we are the first guest of this establishment tonight, and ever since we ordered, people have just been walking up and talking to him, and the grill is going. You can hear it sizzle. It's super hot oil frying all of this up. Okay. Ooh. It is spicy, but I can handle it. Accompanies it perfectly. The sesame seeds in the sauce is a really nice addition. The meat is incredibly tender, but then the outside's all crispy and oily.
So my adjectives and describing words are not as good as Emily's, but I'm gonna try. Crispy outside. Oh wow. It's like a more bready on the outside, and not in a bad way. Like almost like a kind of bread roll.
What's the inside like?
Honestly delicious. It's like beef.
Would you like me to have a try?
Yeah.
Very, very simple. It's tender, delicious meat that's just been steamed with some onions, maybe like lightly herbed, in essentially a bread roll that's been deep fried.
Right? So it was right, yeah.
Don't think it gets better than that. That's so simple, but super savory and delicious. And that is an end on 24 hours in Luang Prabang. This has been an awesome introduction to the country of Laos. I'm so glad we did the UXO museum today. That was really special. But tomorrow we're taking a bullet train from Luang Prabang to Vientiane.
If you're a fan of travel YouTubers, and if you're watching us, you might be, you probably heard of Cara and Nate. They came here 8 years ago, and we found the exact place that they sat and ate. Or Cara sat and ate. I just think that's wild. This is where Cara had khao soi with beef, and over there is where Nate got his banana and peanut butter sandwich. We are very, very, very big Cara and Nate fans, as you can tell. She sat right there.
I didn't think it would be that fluttery bakery crust.